Temporal bonds. Chapter 1.
In a twist of fate, when James and Sirius are unexpectedly summoned by Dumbledore, they find it odd. They weren't supposed to be on standby that evening, nor were they usually critical enough to the Order to be called in for special tasks. Until now, that is. Maybe this is their opportunity to shine. They excuse themselves from an evening at the pub, exchanging excited and curious farewells with Lily, Moony, and Wormy, then apparate to the safe house they've been directed to. At the location, they find not only Dumbledore but also Moody, whom James always struggles to see as anyone other than Moody, and McGonagall, similarly Minerva, which is unusual as she tends to focus on her duties at Hogwarts. With a blink, James registers that it's early May, indeed still during the school term, and gives her a confused smile and greeting. "We appreciate your prompt arrival." Dumbledore gestures for them to come inside. This Devon safe house is a simple two-story house with rooms, medical kits, and a potion lab. And notably, it harbors the Order's most secure secret dungeons. Suddenly, James feels less eager about this chance to prove himself. Our patrol crew in Hogsmeade encountered intense magic and discovered two peculiar wizards, Dumbledore informs them. They remain unconscious, and we've hit a wall in identifying them. James takes a look around at these seasoned Order members with him, experienced educators and the head or unable to identify someone. Maybe these wizards are foreign, though that wouldn't quite explain why James or Sirius would succeed where they couldn't. "What can we do to help?" Sirius inquires suavely, while James tries to comprehend things, feeling inexperienced, a feeling unwelcome after a year of adulthood in the Order. "We've ruled out polyjuice potions, glamours, and transformation magic. Typically, unfamiliar wizards might be foreign-born or educated overseas, but these two don't fit that mold. Their attire, although odd, has labels from British merchants." James and Sirius exchange a knowing look at Dumbledore's commentary on their strange dress, but let him continue. "What's peculiar is their striking similarity to well-known British wizarding families, yet neither Minerva nor I have ever met them." Finally, links are made in James's mind. "You suspect one is a Potter? And the other a Black?" Sirius speaks with evident disdain. "Maybe not a Black, but a Malfoy. Yet for now, Sirius, you have the closest ties to the Malfoys amongst us, so you'll need to act as our Malfoy expert for now." James already knows Sirius is grimacing at his new role but consents, and they're led by Dumbledore down the corridor to the dungeon stairs. Behind them, it's clear McGonagall has fulfilled her part and leaves. Moody makes a gruff noise indicating his agreement, but stays on alert, vigilant over two unknown detainees. The stairs down to the dungeons echo with an eerie resonance. Sirius treads almost soundlessly, making James keenly aware of his own footsteps. It's peculiar how anxious he feels, especially since they're merely speculating if the captive's a Potter, but with his parents' death so recent, anything family-related is a sensitive topic. Reaching the stairs' base, they turn into a short corridor flanked by stone cells. Only one is occupied, and they gather before a heavy oak door that Dumbledore renders transparent with a spell. Inside, two youths are tethered to chairs, heads drooping, making it hard to discern their faces. Yet even glimpses of their hair justify Dumbledore's line of thinking. The one on the left has raven black hair, strikingly similar to James. It stands at odd angles, refusing to be tamed. The one on the right boasts silky platinum locks that scream Malfoy. The boy with Potter-esque hair wears odd muggle clothing. Here, Dumbledore's taste isn't far off. Yes, Potters unabashedly embrace muggle trends, but these clothes are anything but trendy. They're soiled, torn, and even burnt, draping heavily on the boy's frail frame. At least, the Malfoy representative's robes are of the expected luxurious fabric, albeit tailored quite peculiarly. This boy seems far too lithe and youthful to masquerade as Lucius Snore is the one at the left James, he being the sole Potter under 87 left. "Crikey," Sirius softly exclaims. James concurs with an inexpressive nod. Why pose as such prominent family figures? James ponders. It seems tactless, not a prudent guise, especially given the oddity of a Potter and a Malfoy venturing together in wartime. Are either of them carrying the mark? Serious questions. For now, let's say the Malfoy lookalike bears it. The Potter-appearing one does not, Dumbledore replies. A relief seizes the tightness in James's belly he hadn't recognized. Merely lacking a dark mark doesn't absolve someone, but still, any comfort helps. Malfoy hair, Malfoy alliances. Sirius grins humorlessly. He seems a fitting Malfoy. Yet, I haven't heard of Malfoys being disinherited recently, and Druella would have uncovered that before Narcissa's betrothal. Quite odd. Disinherited? James ponders, but delves deeper. Potters haven't embraced shunning family in ages. Yet, admittedly, nowadays, living memory equates to just himself and his aging Uncle Charles near the end of his days. For one this young, any split should have reached him somehow, whether a lineage rift or an illegitimate birth. Or a disregarded squib's heir even. All the same, he should have a better grasp of identifying this kid. Are we sure there's no concealment? He asks. I've inspected most thoroughly, Dumbledore affirms. Contemplatively, James eyes the youth's visage. With a tilt, he notes the spectacles' black frames, suggesting poor Potter eyesight once more. But wigs and glasses are both impersonable without magic, unless Lily's been playing a prank again? Have the glasses been checked? Are they suited to his vision? He quizzes Dumbledore. In a dimly lit room, Harry spoke with dread. If someone were impersonating a relative of the Potters, they'd wear glasses with ordinary lenses, he mused. Dumbledore, lost in thought, responded, I sensed no enchantments, yet I must confess, I did not evaluate their practicality. Without a second thought, James swung the door open with a spell and stepped inside. James, whispered Sirius urgently. James, dismissive, motioned him to stay back. They're knocked out, he murmured, met by silence from Dumbledore. Taking it as approval, he hurried to examine the glasses for himself. He bent over to remove the specs from the boy's face and noticed a nasty bruise forming on the cheekbone. James decided he'd worry about it only if the kid turned out not to be a Death Eater. Peering through the lenses, he realized they were definitely meant for vision correction, specifically matching the notorious Potter family's visual deficiencies. As grimy as the boy himself, James grimaced and awkwardly placed them back on the kid's face. The boy stirred at the touch, prompting James to quickly exit the cell, locking it behind. The clang roused him, and James found himself resembling those strikingly green eyes. Well, remarked Sirius quietly, he's a spitting image of you, James. James merely nodded. Bound and desperate, the boy cursed and scanned the room anxiously, his gaze settling on the blond boy beside him. Malfoy. You traitorous fiend. Our doubts on that score are minimal, Sirius commented dryly. Malfoy, the boy thundered again. His livid eyes aged him immensely, filled with exhaustion. Malfoy, beginning to stir, lazily nudged by his restrained companion's bound leg. Where on earth are we, Malfoy? Potter. Malfoy replied hazily, bemused by his surroundings. Equally puzzled, James felt a spark of curiosity about this unknown Potter. His acquaintance with a Death Eater was concerning, but the animosity seemed promising. James glanced at Dumbledore and Sirius, both equally intrigued and willing to make sense by watching through the door. This view's one way, right? James asked. Indeed, Dumbledore affirmed. Satisfied, James focused on his peculiar green-eyed kin, edging towards panic. Where are Ron and Hermione? He growled. How should I know, Potter? I can't even tell this place from Mars. Malfoy snapped. Let me. My memory's a mess. Caught in some dungeon, and your dad's mates have no involvement, huh? Potter sneered. He sounds like you, Sirius observed. Not in tone, James disagreed. Voice-wise he does, but a common accent, Sirius noted. Malfoy, at least, possessed the expected haughty drawl. At Hogwarts, the last thing I recall was pursuing your trail for my wand. Potter froze, eyes shut fiercely. The room of requirement? What absurd place is that? Don't pretend ignorance. Fixing your cabinet wreckage all last year in that place, Potter retorted. You mean the room of hidden secrets? Whatever. Potter's demeanor stiffened, accusation in his glare. You ambushed me for your wand. You snatched my wand. Your family's hunting me down. I delayed what I could, Malfoy replied. Did me lots of good. Potter exhaled despondently. That room is my last memory, he confessed. Same here. Damn it, Ron. Hermione, he shouted, jarring Malfoy. Ron. Hermione. You there? Malfoy winced. For heaven's sake, shut up, Potter. My head's killing me. Mione. What did you say? My head's aching, Malfoy repeated curtly. Your yelling doesn't help. Forgive inconvenience in your deceptive tactics, Potter snapped. Raised by muggles, Sirius commented. James, immersed by the drama unfolding, was jolted back. What? Mentioned, God forbid. Possible muggle upbringing. Doubtful Potter lineage, Sirius explained. James pondered. Maybe a squib descendant of Potters, he suggested. Any within recent times? Dumbledore queried softly. Unsure, but who else could he be? James shrugged. Their attention reverted to the cell, where the pair continued bickering. My father would never let the Dark Lord imprison me with you, Malfoy protested. Come off it, Potter retorted. He saw you withholding my identity before. Practically a blood traitor now. He sounded both scornful and satisfied. James only felt more confused. Malfoy cursed quietly. No, he finally decided. We were ambushed in that room. My cronies think I was seeking you for the Dark Lord. Failure is assured, not betrayal. Fine line concerns Voldemort, Potter mumbled. James shivered at the bold naming. Dumbledore appeared equally taken aback. Malfoy grumbled further. Malfoy, Potter urged gently. Were Ron and Hermione, his voice trembled. If they escaped, they will come for me. They'll alert the Order. James raised a brow in astonishment. Who was this kid, capable of rallying the Order of the Phoenix with seeming ease? Congratulations, Malfoy muttered coldly. Listen, Malfoy, Potter implored. I know the Death Eaters aren't your life goal. You're no torturer and you've suffered for it. How do you know? Not important. Just hear me out. Help me escape now, and the Order will protect you. Malfoy sneered, yet his hesitance revealed uncertainty. What assurance do I have that you aren't just a scheme concocted by my aunt? How do I know you're not a scheme concocted by your aunt? Because the Dark Lord's not one to bother? If he wanted, he'd handle you himself. Potter considers this, nodding. That does make sense, he admits. Why would he take me elsewhere when he's got a whole army ready? Unless he's on some cross-country trip double-checking every single thing I pilfered from him. He falls into a contemplative silence, leaving Malfoy astonished. By now, he should have gotten word, actually, about my capture. Perhaps he's already headed this way. Sure, but I'd sense it. Sense it? Yeah, I get, you know what, never mind that. The point is, this isn't some trap for me. It wouldn't make sense, and no way is it one for you when I could be turned into Voldemort himself for a much bigger advantage, right? Unless you're not Potter, in which case, it totally could be a trap for me. Potter sighs. All right. How about you ask something only I'd know? A silence grows more uncomfortable the longer it stretches. Awkward, since we don't exactly like each other and mostly talk in public, right? Potter finally comments, earning a sarcastic laugh from Sirius. Nothing you'd know that isn't common knowledge, Malfoy concurs. All right then, how about I keep chatting until you're convinced? Fine, Malfoy says, skeptical. Potter takes a deep breath. Remember Madame Malkins? You asked if my parents were wizards, then said others shouldn't attend. Saw I was with Hagrid and insulted him too. Malfoy cuts him off with a gasp. That was you. Potter looks genuinely surprised for a second. Who else did you think you were talking to? I dunno, just another random kid. Why send Hagrid on such a task to Diagon Alley with their savior? James blinks at the word savior being used for an 11-year-old. That's why you're such a jerk, Malfoy, Potter rebukes. Ignoring the purism nonsense, Hagrid was my first friend, and you dissed him right in front of me, like the pompous 11-year-old you were, without even asking who I was. Or maybe it was someone else acting as Potter, Malfoy suggests. Oh, come on, okay. You really want me to bring up that time you tried the Cruciatus on me, and I fought you off in the bathroom? Malfoy turns ashen and shakes his head, wincing. No thanks. But Snape was there.
Try another event.
Potter rolls his eyes. Remember in the common room during second-year Christmas break, you and Crabbe and Goyle passed out with stomachaches after discussing Slytherin's heir? What's that got to do with bathrooms, Potter? Malfoy frowns. Me and Ron polyjuiced, all thanks to Hermione and Myrtle's bathroom. Potter relishes.
No way.
Seriously? Way, Potter confirms. Dragged us to the common room. You used pure blood as a password. Then when you hoped Hermione would be the monster's target, Ron nearly lost it, and I suggested it kill me instead. You scheming scoundrels. Malfoy snaps, squirming against his bindings. Potter leans back, looking irritatingly proud. No solid proof it was me, but if you're not swayed yet, I can go on. And oh, damn you, Potter. No one else shows your level of disdain for rules or the respect of the Slytherin common room. Third year, Hermione clocked you and called you a foul, loathsome, evil little cockroach, Potter recalls, satisfied. One of my favorite memories.
Fiend?
Malfoy relents. At the start of last year, you were snooping with an invisibility cloak, no respect for privacy, honestly, and I broke your hand. Where was your cloaked, frozen body left? Potter glowers. The Hogwarts Express, and it was my nose, not my hand, so bite me. So it seems you are Potter, Malfoy concludes venomously. Great. Can we focus on the real issue? Potter complains. Right. Malfoy releases a stabilizing breath and examines their cell. Can't pinpoint these dungeons. Could just be oblivious captors. My face is on every poster in Diagon Alley. Can't say I'm unrecognizable. For the third time, Potter thrums with the frustration of someone supposedly recognizable to the wizarding world, and James struggles to follow the outrageous dialogue, desperate to comprehend the situation amidst a barrage of confusion. Surely, if Potter's identity was common knowledge, James should recognize him too? His mind spins with the tangled information. Snatchers desperate enough? Hardly likely, Potter adds. Indeed, Malfoy concedes. The desperate may try his ranks, but one with means has better avenues to the Dark Lord. Potter frowns in silent agreement, but discontent. Out of ideas. Don't fret, Malfoy assures him. Why we're here is irrelevant. Release me, and I'll plan the escape. You clearly need the help with your measly Gryffindor strategy. But we would have noticed a Gryffindor, surely? James weakly argues, Sirius nodding beside him. 3 cells? You're being generous, Potter smirks, fidgeting. A little dislocation, that should do it. What? Malfoy exclaims. Crazy, Potter, truly. Watch me at Quidditch. Potter grins. From Malfoy's expression, Potter's past actions on the pitch are definitive evidence of insanity. Fear not, this old shoulder pops back easily, just need to. He strains and twists against a seat. Dumbledore. James blurts, backing up. Do you reckon it's about time we intervened? You believe so? Dumbledore responds softly. Indeed, you may be right. He casually flicks his wand towards the door. Wait here for the moment.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with more audiobooks. Happy listening!